Hey, hello my friends, here we are. It is Chat with Matt, half an hour to shoot the breeze about anything at all you feel you want to know. It's the 19th of February 2020, 19/2/20 here as we say it in New Zealand. Tomorrow will be 22/20. Kind of a palindrome, depending on how you write the date. Lots of twos anyway. And then obviously in 2 days' time we've got 22/02/2020. Just to add one more 2 in the mix and one less 0. So it's a good time to be still working on your relationships, working in more of a feminine way with yourself and how you're working through the world. The 2's powerful number. Anyway, I'm here to answer questions, and as of yet, I don't have anything. You guys have left me high and dry. So, am I even here? Am I even here? It's a fucking deep question. Oh yeah, there I am. I'm here all right. So my friends, yeah, let me know. I don't know. Someone's here, but I don't know who they are because I can just see a little 1 next to who's watching. What's going on for me? I was up late writing copy. I'm actually writing sales copy, one of the hardest things I can ever do. I was actually writing my own story, oh God, in sales copy because I'm producing a new mini course package thing. I have produced the content, now I'm producing the funnel to sell it. Hey Kelly, producing the funnel to sell it, a very low priced, high value offer to help more people come to know about what I do, and particularly to help more people to become empowered to walk on this planet as a light, right? As a bright light, as someone who has something to share and as someone who has influence over our societies. Hey, Sister Jeanette, good morning. Yeah, so if anyone wants to ask a question, please do so. So yeah, I pulled some cards this morning, and the first one that flew out of the pack was, what's the one called? Come out of the closet. It's like, okay. And the next one was trust. Yeah, okay. Come out of the closet and trust. And the next 3 were interesting because they were just flying out. I was just shuffling and I go, pew, pew, pew. I really like it when they do that because it feels really obvious that they're cards for me. It's not like you just shuffle and one sort of just drops out, kind of like you misshuffled. And they actually like fly out of the pack, and sometimes they do loops in the air before they land. And so it was energy healer, yoga, and teacher. 3 cards, right, that are pretty much all I align with on some level. Hey, Sister Shelley, I align with on some level, and on some other levels I have resistance around owning all of those, titles and roles. And so, yeah, come out of the closet and trust that you are a facilitator, basically, to work with energy, to work with breath and yoga and meditation, and to help others, right? To inspire others, to teach others. I don't like that word. I share wisdom, but I don't generally think of myself as a teacher, although I do a lot of teaching. What's the difference? Anyway, there is a difference to me. So hey Shelley, yeah, what do you guys want to know? So that's where I'm going this morning. I haven't written my journaling post, although that's basically what I was. I brought it with me because I've got into the habit of copying some of my writing into this group every day, or most days, as a bit of a practice and as to stay visible and to keep inspiring people and to keep me committed to doing my practice, right? Because then if I'm not doing my practice, then I've got nothing to share, and then you guys are all going to know about it, and that's called accountability, and that helps people like me not allow laziness and resistance to knock us out of doing something that really serves us. You can all use that, by the way. That's an open sourced trick that we have available to us all. When you're really committed to doing something because you know it really serves you, tell someone else that you're really committed to doing it so that they can they can keep you honest, right? They can say, hey, did you do your practice today? I haven't seen you doing your practice, or whatever it might be. So it's not brain surgery, but it friggin' works, right? And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So and so thank you all for playing that role for me. For playing that role for me, 540 odd of you, keeping me honest. That's perfect, right? That's perfect for me because I need it. And it benefits me. It's not, I'm not putting myself through the ringer for the sake of punishment or trying to be good, right, and proper. I'm doing it because I know I get benefit from doing it. Someone ask me something. What's going on in your lives? What do you want to know about? What's concerning you? What's exciting you? What's relevant? Otherwise, I just talk about myself, which I seem to do far too much of, because it's kind of safe in a way, less likely to offend someone. So, I do it in yoga class all the time. Not just bleating on about myself, but using myself as an example for something I want to illustrate. I quite often make fun of myself because it helps other people see that the path is not so serious, because a lot of people think that if you're a yoga teacher, then you must have your shit together. That's not, well, I do, but not the way people expect. That's the thing. People expect that people have these unrealistic expectations of what spirituality, what peace, what all of these different things look like, and it's just unfortunate. I've got that, Jeanette. I'm coming to read that in a second. And it's just unfortunate that people create these unrealistic expectations of what it looks like to be quote unquote successful in whatever, to be peaceful, to be happy, right? People have an idea of what happiness should be, and then they keep measuring their experience against that, and then deciding that they're not happy yet because they're not meeting this expectation, which is a little bit, delusional or unrealistic or whatever, because happiness is a choice. And a lot of people think, well, if I'm happy, then all of this other shit is happening, then I'm not having negative thoughts. If I'm happy, I'm not having negative thoughts. So, well, there's a huge limitation to being able to declare yourself happy if you're not allowed to have a negative thought while you're happy, right? I can tell you, I choose to be happy, and I have plenty of negative thoughts. I have negative thoughts about myself. I have negative thoughts about the situation. I have negative thoughts about other people. Yes, I do, right? I have negative thoughts about other people in my space or people I just witnessed. But the point is, those thoughts are just fleeting fragments of energy flying through my mental field. They're not me. You have to understand that having a negative thought is not an indication of who you are as a being. It's those of us who are sensitive, those of us who are empathic, those of us who are telepathic, those of us who are psychic are picking up negative thoughts all the time because they're out there. They're out there, and our mind is just a reader. So the point is, are we engaging with those negative thoughts, and for how long? We all engage with the negative thoughts. We notice them. As soon as you notice them, you've engaged with them, right? Because you've just become aware. I've just had a negative thought. That's an engagement. Facebook, I believe now, is starting to measure when you slow down scrolling. That's an engagement. If you stop scrolling, that's an engagement. You don't actually have to click a button anymore to engage with a post. They're measuring what you are reading, even if you don't interact, right, in an external way. That's giving them data on you that they're then using to feed you more stuff that you'd like. They're in the game of keeping you entertained. They're in the game of keeping you on their platform so that then they can sell more advertising. The universe kind of works the same way. It works the same way. What your attention is on is what you are feeding energetically and what is influencing you energetically, and that's a huge thing. So the point is how long are you spending with the negative thoughts that come through your mind? You can still be happy having negative thoughts. You can still be happy having unpleasant, uncomfortable feelings arise, whether they're visceral feelings, whether they're emotional feelings, whether they're deeper knowings. We have all of this stuff. It's called awareness. It's called empathy. It's called whatever. It's called life. We are beings who are interacting with our surrounds. And so the point is, my friends, is to let go of this expectation that when you're happy, all you have is happy thoughts, because it's bullshit, right? And it's limiting your ability from actually deciding that you're happy, and therefore influencing whether you are happy or not, right? Because happiness is a choice. And it's not something you just have to fake it till you make it, although that kind of does work. But when you keep choosing to decide that I'm happy, even though you've got bits and bobs going on, even though you've got negative thoughts, even though you've got situations in your life that are not quote unquote ideal, then your overall vibration rises because you've declared yourself happy. And then slowly but surely your experience of the world starts shifting to better reflect what you are being. It's a slow process. So the point is, a lot of people try it and then get knocked out when all of a sudden something goes wrong in their life, a situation occurs that is making them struggling to enjoy that situation. Therefore, they say, I'm not happy anymore. That lowers their vibration again and reinforces the ability for these negative or unpleasant situations to stay in your experience. But if you allow those unpleasant experiences to arise and go, you know what, I'm going to stay happy, then your vibration stays high. It gets harder and harder for those experiences of density or unpleasantness to stay in your field, because you basically take your attention off them, because you're no longer focusing on them. You just basically choose, I'm going to stay happy. So you don't need to fight that stuff, because a lot of people think, well, I've got to get rid of that so I can get back to happiness. I've got to get rid of this unpleasant situation from my life so I can get back to happiness, so I can start being a right person, a spiritual person, a successful person again, because successful people obviously don't have unpleasant experiences in their life, do they? No. Right? So when you let go of that delusion and just focus on where you're going, happy. I'm choosing to be happy, right? And not happy, joy all the time, just dancing around, not taking a shit about anything else that's going on. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about a deep level of contentment and acceptance in ourselves. When we do that, our life gets better. But we have to be willing. We have to have patience and commitment and dedication to the process to stay the path, even though it's not easy to. It's not easy to stay the path, especially when we have the past influencing us, right? Anyway, Sister Jeanette, I'm going to read it now. Reactions from my environment to my recent meditations connecting to the heart. Awesome. I think I was kind of talking about that. So what is likely to happen as you choose to connect to your heart is you are going to raise your vibration. You're going to raise your vibration into the spectrum we call love, right? Which is this beautiful, accepting, high vibrational, juicy vibration, right? And so you align with the vibration of love. You choose to start allowing love to flow through you. What that does is it pushes out of your field fragments of energy that are not in alignment with love. So what we see happening is then these fragments of energy that are pushed out of your field are now very prevalent in the externalities of your beingness, and they reflect things back to them. So as you're choosing to move into love, quite often fears or bits of hatred, judgment arise in you to be released, and then you see it reflected back to you from your external environment. So unfortunately, the immediate response to your external world, as you start choosing to be more and more aligned with your heart and more aligned with love and more connected with yourself, is the polar opposite. We start seeing the protest, the kickback. Basically, what you are releasing seems to be bombarding you from outside. It's a very, very hard experience to walk through in an empowered way. To choose to stay the course, to choose to stay in trust, to choose to keep doing the practice, even though it seems to not be working. In fact, it seems to be making things worse. You need to be patient to allow yourself to go through that process. You need to trust that this process is actually going to yield the long-term result that you desire, but it's going to take time. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I know. I went through it for years because I didn't know how to do it in an empowered way. I didn't realize that what I was doing was actually working, and I kept trying, but I was in this stressed state that I must be doing something wrong. I never gave up because I made a commitment. Sometimes commitments work for us, but I've made a commitment to my guru to keep doing it. So the guru was working with a sort of a fear basis, an idea that if you stop doing this, something bad will happen to you. So you've made this commitment that you must keep doing it, which is one way of getting through doing it, and eventually, you start to break through. I believe working from a space of love is much more effective these days. And, to understand the process and then to choose to do it from love, because you're choosing to get to the other side of it, is much more effective and is going to work much better than having to keep doing it because you fear stopping, right? Which is the way I went through for about 20 years of my meditation practice of several hours a day. It still gave me a great foundation, right? And it still helped me understand a lot about myself, but I don't believe it's the most effective way of doing it. So that's it, Sister Jeanette. That's probably the reactions from your environment to your recent meditations. I believe, but I don't know. You've only given me a snippet of information. Awesome. Yeah, and it's not like it's all fire and wrath. We have meditations that feel beautiful, that feel expansive, and all the rest of it. But what we tend to find is there's some sort of pushback as we go through the process of our own internal purification. And that is not just internal sensations arising, but it's also the reflection of that from the external world, other people coming into our life. So if we're, I do a lot of meditation in my solar plexus, right, on feeling confident, on feeling empowered, on basically bringing my light out so that I can effectively radiate my light out to the world as a facilitator. And so I'm basically invoking courage and confidence in myself. That has the effect quite often of stimulating fragments of doubt about myself, and also stimulating people coming into my life and criticizing me, right? People, trolls on Facebook, or people I love basically, maybe, expressing doubt that are we really going to get there? Is this really going to work? You've put a lot of energy and time and potentially, time and energy is money into developing these things, and yet we're not yet seeing the full reflection of financial abundance coming our way. Is it going to happen? Those doubts are my doubts arising and then getting reflected back to me by other people in my life. So we just have to, work with that in an empowered way to understand that those doubts coming back from other people that we want support from is not them, deliberately trying to sabotage us. It is them empathically picking up the energy that we are radiating and reflecting it back to us. We do the same thing. And it takes quite a bit of mindfulness, awareness, and intention to choose to see why you are being stimulated to express anything as a person, right? So when you notice you're getting stimulated to express something of a denser nature, a fear-based expression, just inquire, is this the best thing I can do right now? Emotionally and energetically, you feel like expressing it because it's up in your field, because you're picking it up from someone else who you are aligned with, attached with, have a relationship with, and you can choose how you deliver that message. You can choose and this is the higher work, when we start realizing how we are all influenced by energy and how we all bounce it around. Hey, Sister Julie Ray, how we all bounce it around in our relationships, in our communities, in our societies, and choose to do it in an empowered way. Choose to take control of that situation so you don't just reflect other people's negativity back to them. You start to choose to realize, to understand, to be aware. Oh, I'm picking up on their self-judgments and I feel like spitting it out at them. You take a deep breath and you basically choose to express in a way that helps them to overcome their negativity, rather than express it in a way that reinforces what they're trying to get over. Sister Emily Rose, how can I serve you? What's up? Come on, someone else. Did I help Sister Jeanette? Please feel free to keep riffing on the same subject. I'm here to bounce. I'm here to dance. I can only speak so, because I don't pretend to be some sort of oracle, or I don't even think that I'm psychic, right? Because I don't see anything, I don't hear anything. So it's not like I go, oh, right, I'm connected into you, Jeanette, this is what you need to know. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just reading your comment and speaking what I feel to speak. Hey, Sister Kelly. Matt, do you feel some need medication? Hang on. Am I reading that right? Matt, do you feel some need medication due to an imbalance to get to that happy state and out of anxiety? Medication is an interesting term. There's lots of different ways that you can use substances, which is anything, right? Anything that you ingest, to help correct imbalances in your brain chemistry. I do believe. Oh, do you feel some need medication? Some people. Do you feel some people need medication? Need is a strong word. I definitely feel that medication is an appropriate path for some people. Some people. I also feel that a lot of people are medicated unnecessarily, and I don't feel that it serves them. Yes, it's true that people are influenced by their chemistry, and their chemistry is influenced by their choices. So, brain chemistry is not just normally not just an unlucky accident. It's generally a reflection of energies that then start to become habits, that then start to alter the brain chemistry, that then reinforce the process. And of course, there's always outside cases, and there's always things that happen, and there's friggin' things like toxic molds and stuff can get into the brain and really alter the brain chemistry. And do you need medication to combat that? Yes, of course, right? And some of those medications are not, when I'm saying medications, they can be purification medications, as opposed to trying to just correct the brain chemistry back to what happy looks like in the brain. Because if you're not addressing the issue that's taking the brain chemistry out, then trying to just medicate to bring it back to normal usually creates this situation that pushes, that creates this the pendulum swings further and more extreme, because you've already got something that's driving your brain chemistry in one direction, whatever that might be, which might be stressful situations that you're not dealing with in an empowered way. So you're feeling anxiety, and your brain chemistry is influenced by that. Now, if you just start trying to put in chemicals that make you feel happy and you haven't addressed what's happening, then there's this pushback that makes it even more extreme. And I don't believe that's very beneficial. I don't believe it's very beneficial, because the medication that people are taking to try and bring the brain chemistry back to happy has its side effects as well, and has its dependencies, and is not a natural, balanced approach to how the brain actually works, and how more importantly, not just how the brain works as in the neural network, but how the hormonal system of the body-brain system works, to maintain homeostasis, to maintain that relaxed state. So yes, in some cases, medication is an appropriate way to go, but I do believe that we should be, as a society, much more careful about medicating people to help them just be happy, as opposed to looking at what is really driving them and how to better manage their symptoms, to better manage their symptoms without necessarily just giving them a drug that makes them temporarily feel better, and also to correct the long-term issues that are driving their chemistry out. Those long-term issues can be dietary, definitely, and can be definitely pollution-based, whether that pollution-based is toxins in the food, whether it's toxins in the air, the water, cosmetics, different skincare products, soaps, shampoos, all that shit is influencing our overall chemistry and thus our brain chemistry. And some people are much more sensitive to it than others. And I believe there's a lot of work to be done here. And of course, some foods, even in their natural state, are antagonistic to certain people and create, undesirable brain chemistry situations. Most of it is long-term. Most of the brain chemistry issues comes from a breakdown of the gut, allowing, what we call leaky gut, basically toxins to get into the bloodstream that then cross the blood-brain barrier that then start creating havoc in your ability to cognate and your ability to effectively manage emotional sensations, right? To effectively manage your emotional sensations, which then creates anxiety around what you're emotionally feeling, which then intensifies the whole shit fight, right? Just to use a term that basically describes how ugly the whole thing gets. Does that help, Sister Kelly? So, I'm not against medication, but I am definitely very cautious with it. Once you're on it, it's much harder to get off it. A lot of people say, I've worked with a lot of people who say, well, I want to get off my medication. It's like, well, this is going to be a long-term thing. You have to understand. It's because once you're on it, you can't just pull it out. It's very hard to just go cold turkey because the pendulum swings so wildly that it's very, very difficult. Anyway, Sister Emily Rose wrote in, so let's read this. I'm going to read it here because it's already scrolled off my screen there. Nice to be here. I'm celebrating. Awesome, Emma. I had a breakthrough. I wrote the outline of Guided Journey and now I'm ready to have a go at recording it. I've got 5 weeks to complete on that, so it's totally doable. Yeah, sister, you can do this in less than 5 days. So record it, right? Record it and send it to me, and we'll talk about how you can potentially improve it. So don't sit on your hands for 5 weeks. Get into it early and look at how you want to make it awesome. Thanks, Kelly. I'm glad that helped. What else? Yeah, so celebrate, Em. Celebrate. I'm glad you had a breakthrough with that. But also just keep going, right? Just keep going. What's that? Dory. The Dory story. Just keep swimming. Because if you want to get to Sydney, you just have to keep taking little... M's in Sydney. You just have to keep taking little actions, right? And then eventually the whale comes along. We never can tell when that's going to happen, but it's more likely to happen if we keep moving in the direction we want to go. So that's the point, right? That's the point. Get in the East Australian current, the EAC. Get in that current, right? And you have to swim to get then that's awesome, Em. That didn't even come up on my screen, which is interesting. Why is that? Anyway, I've got it here. So Em wrote in and said, yes, I will. I was thinking of it when I woke up instead of fear. So good. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, see how many you can do, Em. That's what I love about creating. When we get in the creative flow and get out of our fear around, not being able to do it, it's contagious, right? We just start running in it. It's the easiest thing in the world for me to produce MP3s and stuff. Producing them is no problem. It's, selling them and packaging them and all the rest of it that I struggle with. But anyway, awesome. What next, my friends? Hey, Stephanie Day. I'm going to read it here as well. As listening, I read a text shifting to survival of the most loving rather than survival of the fittest. Yeah. And as recently, a lot of experiencing work-related anxiety in highly demanding places, it is a good reminder, or you've written a God reminder, which I love. Yeah, I love this. I love this because I also too believe that survival of the fittest is on the way out. The shadow masculine energy, which basically promoted survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest, survival of the cruelest, right? The one who was willing to do whatever it took to survive, is coming to an end. And in the more collaborative energy of the divine feminine, which is, you know, rising, the survival of, or thrival of the most loving, which is, you know, because it's not like, you know, we're not struggling for survival anymore. We're all looking to thrive. We're all looking to experience more expansive expressions of ourselves. And so that process is favoring those who connect with, align with love, those who are willing to share, those who are willing to collaborate, those who are willing to be in community are the ones who are thriving and are going to thrive more and more as we move forward, right? The dog-eat-dog world is coming to an end, and those who want to play dog-eat-dog are going to find themselves on the bottom of the ladder, in the bottom of the pecking order, and the ones who are having the most difficult thriving as we move forward. And so it's an awesome reminder to align with love, to align with love, to align with love, and to choose to be aware of when fear starts influencing our choices, right? When we start getting caught up in influencing our choices or making our choices from the space of fear, it's time to take that deep breath, remember what we're here to do, and to choose to realign, to choose to reconnect with our own heart and the vibration of love. It is totally doable. It just takes awareness, and it just takes setting new habits, and it just takes consistency with our practices to make those alignments with our heart and with our own love, and to act from that alignment more and more often. Second part of your question, and recently a lot of experiencing work-related anxiety in a highly demanding places. So yeah, and that's normal, right? That's normal. A lot of, as you keep choosing to be that more expansive, loving, compassionate, heart-centered being, your vibration is more sensitive to fear-based energy, anxiety. And so as an empath, right, you're choosing to align with love, and now the anxiety is becoming more discordant, which is basically also more intense, same, right? Because it's more out of alignment with who you are. And so it's becoming more obvious to you that there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear in these workplaces, and you're picking it up, and unfortunately you're owning it. So your job is to remember that the anxiety that you're feeling is not really yours, even though your mind turns it into yours, even though your mind finds reasons why you're feeling the anxiety, right? Oh, am I not performing as I should, right? Those thoughts show up in your mind as a justification for the intensity of the anxiety that you're basically empathically feeling from your workplace. Your job, twofold. Firstly, is to consciously choose more and more regularly to allow your love, your light, your essence to radiate out around you as like a buffer, right? So that you're basically in your own bubble. Not to protect yourself from the fear, but basically just to help. Because when you do it from that space, because when you do it to protect yourself, you're doing it basically from the vibration of fear, right? You fear the fear, and you're basically trying to protect yourself against it. That doesn't work so well. When you choose to do something about the anxiety by projecting or radiating your love out into the vibration, you, as a byproduct, buffer yourself against so much of the fear coming in. You're still going to feel it. You're still going to feel the fear coming in, but because you're choosing to consciously align with love more and more, maintaining an awareness that the fear that you're feeling is coming from outside, and not to allow your mind to run with it, not to allow your mind to justify the fear based on perhaps I'm not doing a good enough job and perhaps I'm going to get reprimanded or perhaps I'm going to fail in some way. I have had this anxiety rising as my workplace has been highly demanding. So, okay, I'm going to keep reading. This helps me a lot as so many are confiding in me of heart pain at work from stress. Thank you for helping by saying this. Yeah, so your job is to start reframing highly demanding as in highly inspiring. I know it's a push at first, but basically highly demanding is giving you the opportunity. It's an invitation for you to get much better at everything, at managing energy for a start, right? First and foremost, it's giving you the opportunity to get much better at managing energy. It's giving you the opportunity to step into your role as a facilitator, right? Many more coming to you confiding that they're struggling with stress. It's giving you the opportunity to hold space for many people and still maintain your presence. Overwhelm and demanding and the stress that it's creating is the pathway of growth, right? So it's the pathway of growth, and it's not a wrongness. We're not looking to live in a world where there's no demands placed on us, right? Where there's no stress because we don't have to do anything. We can just blob out and be a jellyfish. That is not a very conducive environment for evolution. So the point is to make highly demanding or more demanding not a wrongness, but actually an opportunity for our development. We also must go into that opportunity with a realistic and compassionate attitude, right? Not that it's a big fat test and that we have to succeed, otherwise we're wrong. There's no wrong here. But it is an opportunity to expand into a greater version of yourself that is more capable of dealing with more energy and facilitating for more people and helping to ease the stress of more people. You don't need to suffer. It doesn't need to be a sacrificial journey through this, because as you get stronger, it becomes less suffering. Like, I'll give the analogy of going to the gym, right? If you just walk into the gym for the very first time or the third time, say you've been to the gym a couple of times, you really like it. You think, I'm going to get stronger. So let's pile all the weight onto the bar and think we're going to lift it. If you try and lift it, or if you just release the bar onto yourself, right, it's going to crush you because you're not strong enough yet to lift it. So great suffering is caused. But if you slowly but surely work up to it, which means putting on more weight than you are comfortably lifting, you have to put on more weight than you're comfortable lifting, because if you're comfortably lifting it, you're not getting stronger. So you have to be willing to do it to a point where it's uncomfortable. It hurts, right? I'm going to the gym. It actually hurts a little bit. It's uncomfortable. Creates a sensation of discomfort when you're pushing a weight beyond what you are comfortable doing. Whether the weight is higher or whether you're doing more reps, doesn't really matter how you're working at this. To get stronger, you have to be willing to push past your comfort zone. It's the same with dealing with energy. It's the same with dealing with stress. It's the same with dealing as a facilitator with other people confiding in us without taking it on, right? So look to the situation that you are currently in at work, and don't make work wrong, but see that it's an opportunity for you to get very, very strong in your ability to facilitate and your ability to hold, as Emily wrote in, just hold healthy boundaries in doing this work, but at the same time, allow yourself to be stretched. Allow yourself to feel a level of anxiety, but just maintain a empowered attitude towards it. Well, I'm feeling this anxiety because I'm in it. This is all from other people. And what I need to do in this space, not that I'm wrong for feeling this anxiety, but what I need to really do to manage this situation is get more engaged in my own process, in remembering more often to flow my light through, to keep flushing the anxiety out from within, to keep buffering myself in the external world, and to keep staying open as like a beacon of light to guide these other people who are coming to me, right? Because it's already working. Obviously, people are coming to you because you are displaying a level of competence in how to deal with stress. So they're seeking your guidance, they're seeking your tuition, and now your job is to do it in a way where you don't feel sacrificial in it. So, and that entails being an allowance of feeling uncomfortable, right? I feel uncomfortable as I go into certain situations as a facilitator because it's stretching me beyond what I'm comfortable talking with as a person. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable in the energy that I transmit because it's stretching me, but I'm also in that discomfort incredibly excited because I know this is my process of moving into being even better at what I love doing. So I think one of the biggest disempowering conspiracies on this planet is this idea that discomfort is wrong, right? When we can start to have an empowered relationship with discomfort, then we're definitely on the motorway towards our happiness, which is a choice. But because a lot of people believe that if they're happy, they're not feeling discomfort. So as soon as they feel discomfort, they seem to think that they're not happy. Going back to where I started this conversation, right? So when we can allow ourselves to be uncomfortable and still happy, we can still choose to own the title of happy, even though we're experiencing discomfort, that gives us a far more empowered foundation to work with the discomfort and to have great outcomes. Emily, I learnt healthy boundaries for me finally in that pressure cooker of highly demanding, in brackets, highly inspiring. Love that. Big, big breaths. Exactly, Em, exactly. That's where we learn healthy boundaries. And healthy boundaries are not all mental. Oops, I sent a heart. Haha, that was for you, Stephanie Day. You can send as many hearts as you want, Em. You've got an unlimited supply of them. That's the great thing about Facebook. It doesn't limit how many hearts we get to send a day. So go for it, right? Let rip. Send some for Steph. Send some for everyone else who's on the call. And if there's one for me, I'll take it too. There's no limit to love. It's awesome. What else, my friends? How are we going? 9:43. Does that mean I've gone for 43 minutes and it's supposed to be a half-hour live stream? I think it does. So obviously I've come to an end. I lost complete track of time there. I'm glad it's a brilliant reframe and perfect that there's plenty of hearts for all of us. Much, much love to you all, my friends. I'll be back again the same time next week. Here we go. This is Chat with Matt. Happens every week. This time, this place. Feel free to engage. Bye for now. Namaste.